Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
This recorded? No, this record is.
This is court, yes.
Oh, turn it on.
I don't have anything in my queue. Could you state your name, please?
Ryan Johnson.
This is State of Michigan versus Ryan Johnson, 24 FB 1026. I will appoint the Public Defender's Office. Go ahead when you're ready, Ms. Vergils.
Assistant Public Defender Chelsea Vergil with and on behalf of Ryan Johnson, we would waive a formal reading of the complaint, stand mute as to the charges, and ask to address bond.
All right, whoever's speaking from the prosecutor, is that you, Ms. Barroso? Go ahead when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people. I am aware that you did the swear to, so I would like to place some of the facts regarding this case on the record, just so that the record is clear as to why we're making the requests we are making.
Okay, and reminding you that we are on YouTube, so careful about the things we don't necessarily want broadcast.
Absolutely, Your Honor. First, I would like to make the request that we are asking for $500,000 cash or surety as far as the monetary amount on this bond, as well as a do not go to for the Julie Street address, home confinement with a tether upon release, as well as no contact for the co-defendant in this case, which is one Julius Clay, Kimberly Bullocks, Alan.
I don't know anything, excuse me, wait, I don't know anything about a co-defendant.
There
wasn't one on the complaint, and I didn't hear anything in the testimony, so.
I apologize if there was not one listed on the code on the complaint. However, a warrant was written for that this morning. I do not believe that that was part of the swear to. However, it was written. I don't believe that it was that came before you. If Mr. Clay was left off of the complaint, that was an error. There is a co-defendant in this matter.
All right, is his information in the bond form for me to add to lien?
It should be, Your Honor. His name is included in the request for the no contact order as one of the individuals for the no contact order.
Okay, I do see that on here, yes.
Okay.
His name is not on the complaint. Do you want that added?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will make that amendment at your request. Go ahead.
So Julius, no contact with Julius Clay, Kimberly Bullocks, Alan Duva, and Javier Bullocks. Like I said, in addition, or the reason for those requests is because of the nature of this case, as well as the defendant's lengthy criminal history. I do want to emphasize a few of the facts underlying this case in support of our requests. 3 days prior to this incident, the defendant and the victim, Miss Kimberly Bullocks, had an exchange where the defendant conveyed to her that he wanted the minor child in question. When she said no, he said, "I'll be back for him." Fast forward to February 7th, between 3 and 4 a.m., Kimberly Bullock was up feeding the baby when she heard banging on the door. She did not expect anyone there, neither did Alan Duva, who also resides at the residence. So Alan, who is an elderly individual, went and opened the front door. When the front door was opened, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Clay barged their way into the residence with guns, knocking Alan over. It's unclear if he hit his head or if he was hit with one of the guns, but he had a large knot on his head. Julius then proceeded to hold Kimberly and Alan at gunpoint, and while Ryan Johnson took the minor child from the residence, placed him in a vehicle, and came back in the residence to gather some of the minor child's belongings. Ryan then proceeded to take the minor child to the Victory Inn. At that point, Ryan Johnson and co-defendant Julius Clay parted ways. We still are unsure of Mr. Clay's whereabouts. However, Mr. Johnson was at the Victory Inn in possession of the minor child. SWAT was dispatched there. They were able to safely get the baby out of the hotel, and he was arrested. I do want to emphasize that the defendant has a 2003 conviction for armed robbery, as well as aggravated vehicle hijacking with a firearm out of Illinois. He has an extensive number of B&Es with intent from the 3rd and 22nd Circuit between 2001 and 2002, as well as an R&O and a fleeing 4th from 2002, and 2 counts of home invasion 2nd from 2009 out of the 22nd Circuit Court.
Okay, so,
Lion bitch.
Mr. Johnson, I would advise
Okay.
you not to speak at
Mr.
this time.
Johnson, Mr. Johnson, I don't have to arraign you if you're uncooperative. It's in your best interest to cooperate with the arraignment so your case can proceed. Uncooperative in my courtroom means that you are using profanity towards any person on this call, or that you are interrupting, or in any other way are belligerent and inappropriate in your behavior. You understand?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is.
Okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Step out. Defendant has refused to be arraigned by using inappropriate language during the arraignment proceedings. We'll try on, we can try tomorrow. It's a Saturday, I'm working. So if that's something that we decide to do, or we'll do it on Monday. I'm working Saturday and Sunday though. Okay, Mr. Johnson, we're gonna handle your arraignment today. Ms. Barroso, I don't think we need to go through everything again. As you know, we put that stuff on the record on Friday. I took the testimony on the complaint. I think part of what was bothering Mr. Johnson on Friday is having all of that stuff read out loud, and I can't blame him. It's hard to listen to what other people are saying about you. State of Michigan versus Johnson 24 FB 1026. I've already appointed the public defender's office. I've already updated Mr. Johnson's contact information. So if there's anything you want to put on the record regarding bond right now, Ms. Barroso, and I'm reminding everyone we are on YouTube today. Go ahead when you're ready.
Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Morgan Barroso on behalf of the people. Thank you, Your Honor. I was not sure if you were doing the arraignment today, if you personally were handling it, so I wanted to appear just in case I needed to repeat that for the record. At this time, I would rest on what was previously stated on Friday.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Vergils.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've gotten a chance to speak with my client a couple times now, and he informed me that he has been working full-time at Applebee's for the past 2 years and has family in the area. However, he is homeless, so any cash bond really would be a hardship for him. From what I understand, he does not live near the complaining witnesses in this case and is committed to staying away from them and following his bond conditions. I would argue I believe it was an isolated incident. My client, from what I can tell, has not had a felony conviction in the past 15 years. So I would ask you to consider allowing him to post 10% of whatever cash bond. And he is also open to home confinement tether upon release, if released. Thank you.
Okay. Detective Morrison, did you want to say anything on this case?
Your Honor, so the only thing that I would request is that you have Mr. Johnson comply with his mental health plan that's currently in place. He hasn't been compliant since October of 2023.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Johnson, so this is the continuation of your arraignment from the other day. We'll go through the easy parts first. No contact with the alleged victim, Kimberly Bullock, Javier Bullock, Alan Duva, no contact with the co-defendant, Mr. Clay, I think it's Julius Clay. Do not go to the address on Julie Drive in Ypsilanti. I am ordering a GPS tether with that location as the hotspot. So before you can leave the jail, whenever that may be, you'll need to have a tether set up with the hotspot of that address on Julie Drive in Ypsilanti Township. While you're on bond, you're not to use alcohol, marijuana, or illegal drugs. No purchase or possession of firearms, weapons, or ammunition. Do not leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. No criminal behavior and no assaultive behavior. The financial component of the bond has two parts to it. One is whether the defendant is a flight risk. I think what speaks to flight risk specifically in your situation, two things. One, a history of failing to appear in court, and two, the instability of your current housing situation. More importantly, though, I think we're concerned with danger to the community. So there's a fairly violent criminal history, including charges of resisting and obstructing. There's a carjacking conviction, lots of breaking and entering with intent. Those aren't necessarily violent. Home invasion, again, not necessarily violent. And in this particular case, the allegations are with another person holding some people at gunpoint in order to essentially kidnap an infant. You're not charged with that, but that's essentially what was occurring. So that presents a very dangerous situation. Anytime firearms are involved in a crime, the risk of harm to people is high. Your lawyer's points notwithstanding, this does appear to be an isolated incident in the sense that this is not the kind of crime you're usually charged with. However, given your history of mental health concerns and the fact that this occurred, that says to me that there's something going on right now that is creating this dangerous situation. So I'm setting the bond at 500 million, nope, 5 million, sorry, too many zeros, $5 million, no 10%. That's the bond for now. That can always be looked at again in the future if it's appropriate to change that. The GPS tether, all of those other conditions that I listed, and I am also ordering you, if and when you are released from custody, to comply with any existing mental health treatment plan. The court date for this case will be on Thursday, February 22nd. That will be at 9 a.m. in person with Judge Simpson. Anybody have anything else on this matter?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Johnson, you are all set. When you're ready, you can stand up and walk to the door.